us through the evaluation toolkit she's developed, share a little bit about that and next steps. We'll do some evaluation focus groups with UNM coming to help facilitate those. So folks in this room will be broken out into small rooms later this afternoon as well. And then we're going to pick up our DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion training being led by for New Mexico this afternoon. Any questions? Great. So I just wanted to take a moment to, I'm not going to attempt to wrap up everything we did yesterday. All right, I realize. But what I did want to say is we introduced a new framework yesterday for our work teams called Strategic Doing. And we're not suggesting that this replaces the work we've already been doing, or that this is the only way to work as a work team. It's a new way to maybe help us get unstuck, get dug into some action, right? I think we all really like to look at the biggest system possible, and I really appreciated yesterday personally because it helped us to narrow and really think about things we could achieve in the short term while we're building this longer term vision. And so today the goal is going to be for those work teams to break out, identify opportunities that rise to the top for each of your work teams around these questions. We'll dig into that a little later. But I wanted to just address a couple of things that I think might come up as questions, which is, what if you're in more than one work team? There's a lot of people here that are in more than one work team. So we would recommend that basically you gravitate towards the question that you're identifying with in the work team. So if you're on New Mexico Grown and food access, if you feel like within your sphere of influence and your passion, you fit more into this mission statement than the one we worked on yesterday, we're going to encourage you to move into that group today. And moving down the line, one of the outcomes of this retreat is that we'll have the leadership team, hopefully, solidified. And the real purpose of that leadership team, again, remember, is to leverage the work teams. So hopefully we start to see opportunities that arise out of these appreciative questions that actually bleed over the work teams, and our leadership team will be those individuals to say, here's how they relate, here's what I suggest, right? And so they'll kind of be that communicator. Juan, is there anything, am I accurate about that? Okay, sure. So have no fear. I know you want to figure out how to collaborate beyond the silos of the work teams. We're asking your leadership team delegates to do that. If you haven't selected a leadership team delegate, keep that in mind. That's their primary role at this point. Funnel communication and help lead beyond the lines, right? So those bridge builders. The other question that we thought might come up, oh, time allocation. So Brett walked us through strategic doing yesterday in like record speed. We're going to recommend that you use your time because we have the table facilitators here to support to actually try out strategic doing. So if you haven't got as far as you wanted in your work team meetings, say around solidifying membership, that's okay. Just kind of sit with that, set it to the side for now so that we can take advantage of the assets in the room. And we'll work with you to identify that schedule moving forward. But the hope is the strategic doing process is actually going to help you guys narrow that a little bit for action. So the month of December, when we wrap up this retreat, we'll talk more tomorrow about the vision for the next steps, but in case you're not with us tomorrow, the month of December, we'll gather the leadership team. We'll ask you guys as work teams to kind of tie up anything you want to and take a little space. We know there's been a lot, but we're headed into the legislative session in January too, so we don't want to let it go too far. But just so you know, that's what the structure looks like. Our support team is reducing down to once monthly meetings. We will be meeting in December, 14 people. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you, for those of you that like to see where we're going, a sense of right, I'm gonna stop talking and I'm going to invite our work team representatives up here, right, you all can talk. There's one person on Zoom. So we're trying to be inclusive for anyone that might not be here, unless it's someone in the room. It's Sophia. It's Sophia. So you can stand up where you are and just talk loud. You don't have to come up to the mic. Do we have folks that are ready to give a quick 5-minute update on your teams? David?
Sure. Hey, so I'm David. I haven't met. I'm on the food quality work group. I did not draw the short straw, but it's handy to me. So here We have a really strong, we have over 20 members, with a lot of, members recently. We do have, 2 delegates, man in the classy hat, Eugene Pickett, and Mario Colgian are both got nominated actually to participate, which we really appreciate. We did it very intentionally that way after a lot of discussion, because we wanted to recognize that on our work teams, a lot of people are like, everybody who knows me, and it's good for me to shut up sometimes and listen. So I decided to be scribe because I'd rather listen effectively because learn. And then also notice that as I go through taking notes, I'm trying to point out if somebody isn't heard from frequently in meetings or doesn't speak up, just say we know. We have very vociferous people. We have some very good storytellers. We have some people who show up with amazing experiences and share them as needed. So the place where we're at is it took us quite some time just to understand the process. It took us more time to understand that there's no end goal necessarily, that we have an idea of it, something big, but nothing. It took us a whole lot of time to talk about food quality, not food safety. And that we landed on that with the idea that safety is in that, but we should not isolate ourselves to that. And honestly, I love being on that conversation. Yeah, so I very much appreciate the safety piece, but also recognize that any producers, their whole goal, their whole passion is to present something that's the best. This is for you, knowing you consume well, love appreciation. So the quality, and that was, I want to say, a challenging thing to kind of come together, have that understanding. So we've been moving forward in that. One of the things we spent a long time on was vocabulary, recognizing that like Mike works so hard to create free food safety offer. The idea that then they can get better market, larger market, and realizing that okay, people who've gone through the PSA training, like that, there's a lot of language. For example, one so Mike's job is to go and audit a farm, and then having the conversations like I don't tell people I'm an audit. I say when to come and visit your farm, and then see what your best practices are, and really learning around this different style of talking, so that we're not telling farmers you got to do this, you need to do this, or you won't have that, or you're not doing safe practices. Telling people that very top-down federal language. We need to have an understanding, a better basis of understanding, comprehension, better tools and language skills. Hear the conversation. Still have the same message and but isn't pointing at somebody and saying, you're going to do something wrong and we need to make sure. Or the other end of like, this is great, protect yourself, this is great. By changing that conversation, I think we really came together as a team because it was challenging conversation with people who are on the safety side, people who are on the hub side, people who are on the grower side, all of us come really fit. So we set that aside with the understanding that not every end, but starting a new conversation around how do we provide best access? How do we remove certain barriers? Like what was the example of the chemical thing that you came up with? Sanding 5.0. 5.0. Right? I never heard of this before, right? We don't use it in restaurants. But it's something that a lot of people said, and so it's like, let's make a note on that. Why is this important? Because it's something that farmers need access to food safety. Okay, I don't know, right? I'm not. But there is this understanding that, okay, because of the supply chain issue, COVID, trying to reduce barriers to access. The other one was, I mean, you guys are huge box. Oh my God, how many hours did you spend on box? A lot.
3 meetings, plus agendas in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, if you've got a whole table full of lettuce, how do you get it out of this room and into a truck? You gotta put it into a box. If there's no boxes available for supply chain, we can't go forward anymore. And so recognizing that we might be able to help farmers in our conversation to remove those constraints of supply line issues, and also this. We can do some bulk buying within our state, bolster up our farmers, food hubs to help create a different supply chain better, easier. Then that's a great support. It's tangible. We can get lots of people. That was basically our last. Okay, so, thanks.
Thanks, David. Alright, so we've got food hub capacity and food access. And I'll jump on that one.
Yeah. We talked about food access and we looked up to the food quality team as the shining star.
This is we have 12 people.
Yeah, so food access, we have on our team, I think there are 8 members maybe now. We've got, and Jason New from NMDA is here, but he's been on the team. Pam Roy, Carol Palmer, Alma, Josh. Latrell kind of sort of just getting situated. We had Alicia from Agricultura before she left, so we had an Agricultura person, Sherry Hooper, and Eileen. Yeah, Eileen's missing today. So we have, yeah, it's been an interesting journey. We spent a good few weeks working on our mission. Felt like we really had to have our mission in place before we could move forward. I can't even spout out what that mission is anymore. I don't know if anyone remembers it, but it was basically to create, to increase food access and for underserved and reduce barriers for accessing that. Exact words, but we did really work for a while to center ourselves on that. We've had a lot of challenges keeping people in the group. I mean, just not for any particular reason, but when Lucia moved on, she'd been our original scribe. Josh kind of took over scribing. I kind of stepped in and out of roles. Sherry came on a little later. We were slow. The really short version is we were slow. Carol, we were very slow, like figuring out who we wanted to invite. And so it seemed like everything was a little slow. Process. We've been really in the process. I think maybe actually approved the data management plan, which was like, and we are going to elect our leadership team, our leadership delegate hopefully today at lunch, because we felt like we needed to be together because everybody hasn't been on all the calls together at the same time. And so we wanted to all get to know each other a little better and really talk about that and so we've just been a little slow, but yeah, I think everybody's anxious to get to doing it. Like been really in that process of figuring out how to work in the collective impact framework, and now we're going to find a time that works better to get everybody together. I'm looking at it. We've just been challenged with statistics, but I think we're getting there. So we've got like tons of heart and soul and passion and energy and knowledge and expertise. And so it's just a matter of getting to the next. That's where we're at.
Yeah, it's slow, and that's a real gift in this work, right? And that's the real gift of this collective impact process and this multi-year grant, is that we get to have that space intentionally and properly and learn along the way. And so, but I understand that, yeah, for those in the room, Josh, go ahead.
I'm on that team, and
I've wondered why it's been slower for us. It'd be fun to hear from others and brainstorm that, but I think one of the reasons is it's a little bit harder for us in the group to see immediate benefits for our organizations because it's we get together, we end up talking about really long-term endemic problems. Whereas, a lot of us could also be a capacity group because a lot of us are food hubs, and in a way, it's like, well, that would benefit us more immediately. We can figure out how to do some logistics that we're having trouble doing by ourselves. But when it comes to like the mission of the food access team, potentially increase food access. Obviously, we're already working on that. There's a lot of long-term goals that we're working on with benefits. So hopefully that's something we can get into is how can we bring people in? We've had a lot of people come from the back come sometimes by having it so they feel that immediate benefit that I imagine might be more apparent.
That's really important, though, right? Because you're right, food access is the end game.
Right.
So you guys are aiming for the end game, whereas other people are looking at inputs. And similar, one of the co-founders. No, the initial members of the food access team. It has been incredibly difficult to be a part of it when there are critical issues of food access that we're experiencing in our community. So do we talk about food access or do we actually increase food access as we speak? So that has been like the barrier for us. But I was really excited to come over here and figure out how we can do something doing so that we can ensure that we're thinking long term, having a visionary plan, but at the same time that it can start actually stirring up some transformational change as we talk about it and as we address the needs of people. Thank you. Thank you. All right, our capacity. Thanks, Emma.
So yeah, I just kind of want to echo what food access is sharing a lot of the same kind of difficulties. The capacity group started out very large. I think we're like the biggest group when we first started. And it's kind of dwindled down to like 5 to 8 members on a good day. So yeah, participation definitely slowed down a lot. For that reason, we haven't elected our official leadership team. Felt that we didn't have adequate representation. And we didn't feel comfortable with actually having an election or participation in electing our leadership team. So here representing interim for today. But yeah, our group has also been really slow. We spent a lot of time doing trust building from the beginning. The group identified that was a really big priority for us. We're all coming from different sectors of the food system when it comes to food hubs or farm representatives, different organizations. So, but yeah, we kind of went through a lot of different activities with kind of identifying our capacities, our skills that we all bring to the table. And another really big focus for us was identifying gaps in just the transportation, like how to connect the growers to food hubs. At Mexico Harvest, who's really awesome and kind of leading the discussions on how trucking routes that they're doing can help to transport food from different areas that don't really have access to transportation. One of the other things that we've been working on more recently, we're getting into marketing. It was identified also that the marketing part of it is a big thing for us. Because yeah, it's necessary for being able to increase the amount of local foods that are being purchased. There's more money into the pockets of farmers. Yeah, helps elevate the capacity of. So, yeah, those are kind of some of the things that we've been working on. And yeah, I just want to say again, I mean, it's been really slow for us. So those of you in the food access team are right there with you. A lot of that has also been because people who originally were in the food hub group are in other work groups. So we're still doing the work that we want to kind of like. And on top of that, people who are working for food hubs are very busy all the time. You know, especially in the growing season, it just wasn't possible for people who are in it and running CSAs. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Yeah, we're moving things along slowly and lots to join the team.
Like, Josh and all, I have a little bit of additional thoughts on, I think thoughts are pretty varied, and their values. So when you have, we're strictly focused on delivering really the most affordable prices to patients versus, and I apologize if harvest next office is very focused, and the lunch has very structure, so there are food hubs with people, one person, parent, everything, and then in my organization, rather than just a representative, but it's shifted, and it seems like there's more of a placeholder than anybody who can really. So that's made it a real challenge for us to have common focuses on working next year. I think trust too, of other, to feel like maybe you're a little bit vulnerable talking about your market. Barriers.
Yeah, thanks for, in general, all of you who have group, like, it's a reality check, right? One, doing the work, we're all here trying to support. It's like the essential question. How do we build capacity for steps? Because we believe that's the strategy, community exchange. So again, I want to acknowledge, much like the food access, it's that long haul vision, also capacity means lots of things. Values are embedded in that. And there's real risk collaboration if we're looking at it. And we just have to right? And for some people, traditionally, historically, maybe even contemporarily, I guess definitely, there's the risk is disproportionate. And so I can imagine that that has sparked very active and real conversations. And again, we're looking at this structure, trying to set it up in a way that can operationalize collaboration, but we don't want to be false. We don't want to pretend that those issues aren't there. So just thank you for going slow, for having the conversation, for being critical. For really calling out that need for perspective. So again, I want to just acknowledge a lot of the work has been done this year, and you might not feel like you've gotten really far, but it's palpable to me on the outside, just for watching the communication, where things are happening. And again, I think we're all really hopeful that the strategic process is going to help us get a little bit unstuck, to imagine some immediate actions we can do to demonstrate collaboration, demonstrate values alignment, maybe over the next year or term. Not on everything, right? Collaboration doesn't mean we agree on everything. Collective impact doesn't mean we're always in it together. There will be moments where we come. That's why we're in a long term. I'm gonna hand it over to Brett to get us going. I slacked all of the work team your action packs that Brett prepared, so it'll look like what we shared yesterday for NM Grown. Oh, I'm sorry, NM Grown group. We're gonna huddle and do all the stuff they've been doing. So we're gonna talk about a meeting schedule and our leadership team and just start wrapping our heads around making a formalized group going into it. All right. Hang on. So the recommendation is to look at the appreciative question and you're gonna have to choose. which appreciative question from which work team feels most relevant to you as you sit today in your sphere of influence and asset play?
But am I right that that doesn't, anybody?
Nope, not at all. Not at all.
Just for today.
Just for today. Yeah, so you can still be in and Pam, while you're trying on different identities or different teams. And then the question will come, you know, if you have the capacity for both or if that will help you narrow. Maybe the strategic doing will really present illuminative pathways and love that price on that. That feels good for you to continue. So yeah. But for now, sit where you feel comfortable.
So for New Mexico ground folks from yesterday, I think conflict between two groups is, you know, do I want to stay with what we did yesterday and finish that through, or do I want to start fresh? That's part of it too. So that's a decision to make, but I think we realized New Mexico ground probably won't be a group of 10 today, and so that's okay. You know, you all have a lot of momentum. For everybody else, so you know, again, this was you know, we tried, you know, kind of a modeling almost of the process, but what you're going to do is you're going to dive in. You're going to have David and myself doing rounds, and Isabel's going to stay with New Mexico grown. So David and I and Aaron will join, are going to just do rounds with the other three. I'm going to start with food access. I think, David, are you staying with food quality?
Yep.
Why don't you, until Aaron gets here, do you want to start kick food hub group off?
Sure.
Because what I heard was, you know, that it seems like quality is in a good place. Biggest question for quality is going to be, you know, when you look at this, you've already got kind of a solid foundation. When you look at this appreciative question, you have to almost dismiss this path that you've taken, not for the sake of permanency, just for the sake of this exercise. So don't say, okay, well, let's just do what we already said we would. Use this as a creative space to see what emerges in terms of new opportunities. So I think you'll be fine to start on your own, and Aaron can come join for that. And then, yeah, if you kick off Food Hub, and then you can swap out at that point. I'll start with food access and guide you through that process, just like I did New Mexico grown yesterday. So I'll table guide that one. And y'all should have a link in the Slack. If that's a challenge, let's try to figure that out now.